Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. Yesterday I was talking about the Tidy Towns competition in Ireland and how it's helped beautify the country. We went on to think about how God is preparing a beautiful city for us as his people for all eternity. Well, that reminded me of a story I heard from a friend of mine who had gone on a missions trip to another country in the developing world. And while he was there, he saw what I've seen in many countries around the world, which is where there isn't, for example, a good system for collecting the bins and disposing of people's garbage and the rubbish. And so stuff gets thrown everywhere. And what I have seen in a lot of places, and my friend saw the same thing, is where there's a bridge over a highway, like an overpass, and everybody just takes their plastic bags full of rubbish and throws them off the side of the bridge. And so basically on either side of the highway where the land slopes up to the level of the bridge, you get literally thousands upon thousands of plastic bags full of rotting waste. That there's a stink. It looks absolutely dreadful. It just looks like a mountain of waste, two mountains of waste, one on either side of the road. And of course that's because of the lack of investment into infrastructure and the difficult economic conditions and such like. Well, anyway, my friend was there in this developing country, I won't name which one, and he sees all this, and then he was on his way to meet with somebody. So he went and he met with a local Christian for coffee, and the local Christian began telling him how he had been to Ireland. And my friend said, "Oh, that's great. Whereabouts were you in Ireland?" and shared a little bit. And then he said to the guy, he said, well, tell me, what did you think of Ireland? And the guy said, "Oh, it was such a dirty place." And my friend just stared at him with open-mouthed amazement, because he's just walked past these mountains of rotting bags full of rotting trash and rubbish and food debris and everything else. And the place is such an absolute mess. It's like strewn everywhere. And this guy's saying about Ireland, "Oh, it was such a dirty place." And my friend he said he had difficulty not bursting out laughing. And now the thing is, there are places in Ireland that are dirty, I have to say. There are places that have a litter problem, but nothing like what my friend had been looking at, what I've seen in many countries of the world. And in fact, whenever I hear Irish people complaining about what a dirty country we live in, I want to ask them, have you actually ever travelled anywhere? You know, to think that, because I think we do very well in comparison with a lot of other countries. But I think this is something that what my friend had encountered with this guy in that developing country was a phenomenon that's common to all of us. We all fall into this trap. We notice things with others that we wouldn't notice with ourselves. We see things. So, for example, I go to the United States, and I'm always a little bit shocked when I go to the United States at the number of homeless people I see on the streets. And, you think of it, this is this great prosperous country, and yet every major US city, there's loads and loads of homeless people. But then, you know what? I sometimes forget and don't see the homeless people on the streets of Dublin or the streets of Drogheda. And so we tend to notice things with others that we fail to see in ourselves. And that's true of us as Christians as well, whenever we speak about sin. You know, very often as Christians, when we speak about sin, it's not acknowledging our own sin. It's not looking at the sin that needs dealt with among the church, but it's actually blasting the sin of the world and complaining about how sinful the world is. Now, the Bible has plenty to say about sin, but most of the times in both the Old Testament and the New Testament, there is a recognition that the world is sinful. But most of the condemnation of sin, and certainly the strongest condemnation of sin, is sin that is being committed by God's people. Sin in Israel and in the Old Testament, and then sin in the church in the New Testament, and about the need for us to be holy. The world is sinful. Of course the world is sinful. Look, that's basic Christianity. You know, I never cease to get amazed when every year at the Super Bowl takes place in the United States, or the Grammys, and my Facebook feed is full of my American Christian friends giving out about how sinful the entertainment was. And I'm thinking, what do you expect? It's the world. The world is sinful. Wow. Why are we surprised at that? But we should be shocked whenever sin is in the church. And what we need to learn as Christians is to stop being all the time complaining about the sinfulness of the world and to start dealing with the sin in the church. Start dealing with the sin that is in our own church communities and even in our own lives and homes. And if we would concentrate on dealing with our own sin and asking God to bring a greater level of holiness amongst us, then I think that would do far more good than always giving out about how bad the world is, even though we know the world is in the hands of the evil one. May God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.